So when I say we're having soft pretzel night and water ice night, I'm going to shoot you an email, and then you're going to show up for council meeting, right?
Yeah, the food should be at the end.
At the end?
Yeah, because if not, I would just come and get some food and leave.
And you would have no shame?
Not with the crowd that I think that's showing up on pretzel and free water ice night. I don't think I'd have to worry about shame. Shame is left at the curb. I don't think I have to worry about that. But no, you have a couple theme nights, you know. And food that's how we get people to stuff in this country. You know, pretzels.
That's a thought. That's a thought. I like that.
Scrapple night. You know,
Scrapple night.
You could use that whole Law's Sausage Factory thing. You know, Scrapple night. I bet you.
That's a thought. That's a thought.
I bet you if you did that, I bet you'd see a change. If you did that, maybe during the summer, just do a couple times during the summer. Get people out there, make it a little fun, make city council.
But then folks would be concerned about where the money's coming from, and will it raise the taxes?
Well, you get the water ice and the pretzel place to donate it.
There we go. Okay.
They're always giving away pretzels and water ice.
Okay.
You know, I mean, you're going to get the tiny cups and the little pretzels, but still better selling than, you know. And then somebody donates the mustard. Make sure you have spicy mustard, because people just use the plain yellow mustard, and you need spicy mustard.
We need spicy mustard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And more than one flavor of water ice. You need like cherry. No, Swedish fish.
Yes.
Swedish fish. Pina colada. Lemon. Straight up lemon. Cherry. And come on, throw a flavor. Green apple. Like sour apple? Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one, yeah. I thought you said she was just like you, and she's saying green apple, you're wincing. Like she said rhubarb.
Like that.
Sour apple's good. Mixed sour
margarita
apple
flavor is good. Have you tried the margarita one?
I haven't, no.
That's really good. I tried that a couple weeks ago. It's really good.
You could have it at council meeting. That could be your thing.
There we go. Okay.
That could be your thing. Would you
say margarita night?
Would you come to water ice and pretzel night at city council?
I'll probably show up at the end.
See,
okay,
but it's a start.
It's
a start. It's a cheap start.
I like that idea.
Good idea.
I will take that into consideration.
See, it was worth it. It was worth it coming, maybe, unless there's some big pretzel scandal, then you know, pretzel night doesn't work. City council pretzel scene loading hundreds of pretzels into a car. I love it when I love pretzels. So whenever we have something and I can get fresh pretzels, I always get fresh pretzels. But pretzels have such a limited shelf life. You know, they go from best thing on earth to dog treats in about 2.5 days. And they just get so hard. They absorb all the moisture in the room and everything. My brother takes the pretzels now, right in that day and a half when it's done, because he doesn't like refrigerating them. And you know you're supposed to keep them in paper bags. That keeps them fresh longer.
Yes.
But what he does with them is he takes them, puts them in the oven, and bakes them, and just makes them hard pretzels. And that works.
Oh.
That works. See? I'm rocking your pretzel world here.
You are, and I love soft pretzels. It's one of my weaknesses.
But when they start to get a little hard, you put them in the oven, make hard pretzels out. Big. They
normally don't last that long in my household.
Yeah, it's just when you have an event and you end up with like an extra tray of pretzels, and you know, and you try and eat them. I'm talking from personal experience here now.
I see. He's like really into this.
And your pretzel to mustard ratio's all off, and then you've got some hard pretzels and everything, and you can't put them outside because then you end up with you become like a hangout for degenerative squirrels that are coming for the pretzels, and it just makes a mess. What would you want to say to the constituents who would be lining up for pretzel and water ice night about your job to make your job helping them easier? What would you ask of them?
My only ask of them would be to just give it to me straight. Like, what are your concerns? I know what my expectations are, and I know what my role is, and maybe they're seeing a different expectation or a different side of me that they weren't expecting to see. So what I mean by that is I'm open to criticism. We could have that adult discussion where if they see something, they hear something that they're not sure of, and if they want to come to me to get factual responses, I can do that. If they feel as though I'm not working hard enough, I would also want to hear that.
What's the best way to get your email?
Absolutely. And that's at ssanders@norristown.org.
And the I have this debate with friends a lot that some people, what they do to help, and they say, well, I pay my taxes, and my response to that has been, if all you do is pay taxes, then all you can expect is government. If you want more, then you have to do more.
Absolutely.
And you have to participate. At some point in your life, you have to participate and put a couple years in. Absolutely. May not be forever, may not be a lifelong thing, but you should participate.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So it would be good if people just came out, and even if they came out and did listen to one session and had a hand in, and especially on pretzel and water ice night. Who was the other person? Some politician was using food here. Food is just such a good lure for people. I mean, it's how animals lure animals. It always has been. Mm-hmm. But is there anything else you want to say to anybody? I appreciate your coming.
I would just want folks, my constituents, to know that as a Norristown native, I have a vested interest in Norristown, and I want to do right by Norristown, and I'm putting in the time, knowing that I'm taking time away from my family, and just know that I'm very passionate about Norristown. This is where I was born, and this will most likely be where I will stay. And as long as I'm living, I will always partake in any venture that Norristown has to offer. Or if it doesn't have an offer, I would insert myself to better Norristown.
That's a very brave statement after this past winter we've had. That way you'll stay, because this is the first year I thought, turning to your grandparents, you're like, oh, I can't deal with this anymore. Snow in April? No.
Actually, this past winter, our public works department had done a phenomenal job.
They did, and I drive here late at night. I'm coming in during the day, going out late at night, and the roads were not a problem. They were not a problem. They did a really good job, and I know, nobody gets everything, but I think a lot of the public works in the city, they did a great job this year. It really wasn't that we had that much snow, not to diminish it, but we had this stuff that was coming out of nowhere. We weren't getting the warnings on it, and then it was just like we were like, okay, because normally I'm like, March hits you once or twice, and then you're done, and then it just kept coming. But no, I think they did a really all the public works between here and when I get home did a really good job this year, better than some past years. I don't know if they were geared up differently. I saw a lot of private plows out, and so I think people were expecting more, not as many incidents, but more inches of snow.
I know for Norristown, we had a new public works director. He takes his job very seriously. He actually made the brining, something that Norristown has never had. And everything was done in-house. And
Norristown makes its own brine?
Yes.
Ooh, Norristown brine?
Yes. Mr. Thomas O'Denibo. He's terrific. They are doing a fantastic job. And this is the hardest working public works team that I've saw in the past 5 years.
That's good to know. That's good to know. See, people don't realize that. When things are going right, people really don't notice. It's really hard for people to stop back and appreciate instead of just thinking it's expected. Well, it should be like this. And people really need to stop and think, people talk about an airplane crashing. And I think the other way, I think it's a miracle that we don't hear about one a week. Mm-hmm. We're very lucky. Mm-hmm. We're very lucky. But it's good to hear that you've got a good team of people.
Yes. And I think, it's up to our council and my colleagues to recognize that. I mean, I think it was my third year and we got hit slam with the blizzard. And at that time, we didn't have a public works director. And that was the year where I sat there and that night, the council chambers was packed. And I had 3 new colleagues that sat there like a deer in headlights, and they were just like, well, what am I to do? What am I to do? And that was my first year as president. Yeah.
People don't like anything that impedes their travel. They just don't like it. They don't like traffic jams. They don't like roads out.
And I basically said, this blizzard was an inconvenience. If you could tell me anything differently than that, that's all snow is an inconvenience. Yeah. And what I did see during that time was folks were helping each other out, which was something I haven't seen in a long time. Because where I grew up is we all knew our neighbors. Now, the way that Norristown is so diverse, you don't really know your neighbors. So that was an opportunity for your neighbors to come out, and you were helping each other shovel. You were helping each other clean their cars off, and it would be strangers riding down the street that would get stuck, and folks were just willing and lending to give a hand and help out. So I always try to see good in a situation.
It's when the power goes out or when there's snow, you meet your neighbors again. Mm-hmm. And snow, it's always good either way, except for, and this year less than any other time, you always have the people who put the chairs out.
Oh, they didn't like us. We enforced that this year. Public Works.
And I can see both sides of that, like many things, but what bothered me this year was we never got a lot of snow at any point. Mm-mm. And there was one point where there was a couple inches out, and I had people putting chairs out. I was like, what are you even protecting? Any car could pull it at any spot. They were just
Agree.
They were just using it as an excuse. But no, this year it was great. It was a pleasure, and I noticed it because I didn't have to worry about it repeatedly. I didn't have to worry about ice. I did notice the brine for the first time. I didn't know it was homemade brine. So you have like a big vat, or how do you do it?
We have this huge shed in the back, and apparently Thomas found some other materials back there, a machine actually that could fix potholes, but that's another story. And Thomas, he was also an engineer. He has a lot of experience. He's from Africa, and he actually told our municipal manager, he was like, I think I'm going to do brine. It's his whole accent and his whole body. And we're like, okay, Thomas. And Thomas was like, I'm ready for snow. And all of us council folks were like, normally we hold our breath and we just
pray.
We just pray. And he's like, I'm 110% confident. And we're like, Thomas, we'll see. And I can honestly tell you, I've never seen my block plowed so much in the past 2 years.
Well, I will commend him on the brine. He needs to get that pothole machine working.
We do have a pothole team. And there are, I forget the amount of potholes. It's a never-ending battle. One, it's a never-ending battle. But two, they have actually prioritized the potholes. So they're actually filling up. I think they may be looking to fill at least, I want to say 20,000 potholes.
Yeah, people don't realize how many thousands.
People doesn't realize when I'm like.
But there's a pothole on Ridge that I hit that I'm pretty sure had a manatee in it. So that one's deep. So you can bump that one up.
Did it make you say a lovely word when you hit it?
Oh, I have what I call driving Tourette's. I can't drive on the speakerphone talking to my godchildren or anything because bad words come out. It's driving Tourette's. It's